Oh! 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 That is bullshit! Cornardo, thanks for this Prime sub. I appreciate the support. What's up, chat? How are you doing? Oh, no Aisha clan. I'm out of space. Request was for Melfina. How are we doing, chat? I have been grinding. The joy of grinding a million. Currently storyboarding. In retrospect, I don't know if I was as high on 90s sci-fi anime. I think I definitely like 90s video games more than, I don't know, a lot of other video games, but I'm not sure if I was as high on 90s anime as a lot of people. I feel like anime in particular is one of those things where we just remember the best parts of it, but the average quality was like higher after they went digital. Like, I feel like the ceiling of anime was higher back in the day when people had to like literally paint every single cell by hand, but the floor was also way lower as well. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is Melfina's waifu level? I don't know. I don't think it's that high. If you ask the average Outlaw Star fan, wouldn't they take, Sexo Cat instead of Android Girl? Never really watched much Outlaw Star, actually. It was always like the anime that showed up in the previews for my Gundam videos when I would rent the Gundam VHS tapes and stuff from the anime store and shit. But it was never an anime that I really got into that hard. The sci-fi anime of the 90s that I really got into was Bebop and Martian successor Nadeshiko, if we're going by this picture. And Tenchi Muyo and Outlaw Star didn't really hit as hard for me. I don't think I finished either of them, or actually saw more than a few episodes. She is naked a few times in the show, yeah, but isn't that I can't remember. Was it? Isn't that just like the standard like Android back to tank shit? I don't know. I remember in the '90s, I was binging Bebop because I thought it was like the coolest shit I had ever seen, and my mother looked at one of the covers of the VHS tapes with Faye like doing her boob squish thing, and she was like, her boobs look like water balloons. That's unrealistic. My mother being a rabid feminist, she doesn't understand men's love of tits. And that I remember being like a 14-year old and it be making me extremely pissed off because I was still at a point in my life when I didn't realize that boomers have no taste and they will never actually understand what is cool and what's actually high quality. So I think Aisha Clan should be pushing Ryoko out of the frame. Isn't Ryoko like galactic power levels? I can't even remember. I read a bunch of Tenchi Muyo manga, but I don't think I've actually seen significant amounts of the anime. I thought, don't they all have like crazy spacefaring galactic power levels and shit? I can't even remember. Fucking space pirates. Stream lagging hard. If you guys are getting stream lagging, besides the one person talking about it, please notify me. I'll try starting OBS or something. Fine on my end. I feel like 90% of any discussion involving PCs is just like someone being like, hey, is anyone else having this problem? And then all the other people being like, nah, I'm fine. That's like every PC gamer, like, new video game comes out, setting discussion. It's like, I'm only getting 180 frames per second. Capcom, fix your game. And then everyone else being like, heh, works on my end. Fucking peasant. I bet he hasn't upgraded his GPU in 3 months. What a fucking pussy loser. Why is One Piece the only pirate manga? Uh, for one thing, it's pretty hard to draw the ocean and ships and stuff. You could say that it's because Oda is a visionary and he was able to see an unexploited part of the market. But I think a lot of it is just that it's a pretty hard genre to draw. You have to have a pretty high basic level of drawing ability to be able to draw a pirate manga. Because you have to be able to draw the ocean, which is, bodies of water is always difficult to draw. If you're going with the classic pirate theme, you have to draw these wooden ships and stuff, which is pretty time consuming. Oda figured out a good style in which he could abbreviate a lot of the details. Melfina's suitcase girlfriend. when you say suitcase girlfriend, I just reflexively think of the various hentais in which like some sort of anti-demon ninja is kidnapped, and you're like, oh, I hope she's okay. She's so strong, she'll be fine. And then she comes back in a fucking suitcase, and either she's like quadruple amputated or just her limbs are folded up. But in either way, she has like 10 vibrators stuck in her. And it's like, huh, I guess she wasn't okay after all. Hold on, is this stream pre-recorded? How did you find out? He's on to me. They didn't have that in the Adult Swim version of Outlaw Star. It's okay, she's a robot. I didn't actually watch much Adult Swim because wasn't it dubbed if you saw it on the actual Cartoon Network? And obviously I'm not going to watch dubbed stuff. Also, we didn't have cable in my house, so all of my anime consumption was through VHS tapes. And Outlaw Star was shilled pretty aggressively if you had a bunch of Gundam VHS. But it wouldn't just like show up in my living room because I didn't have the cable. I can't watch anime in dubbed format. I just can't. Obviously, I can speak Japanese, so that sort of changes the equation quite a bit, but I just fucking hate English voices for like anime style characters. I just don't think it matches well. What about Ghost Stories? I started watching the Ghost Stories dub, but ultimately I went back to listening to the Japanese version because it's the original version of Ghost Stories is entertaining on its own, even without silly American. It's like Borderlands style humor. I know this will piss off all the Ghost Story fans out there, but it's like, haha, we're being so wacky. So if you actually enjoy the source material of 90s Japanese spooky core for children with sexy elementary school kids formula to begin with, you don't really need the American dub to keep you entertained. When I was in Japan in the 90s, they were having like a really huge children's horror boom. So it was highly nostalgic, Ghost Stories. So I didn't really want the English dub to interfere on that. The whole specific urban legends in the school with Hanako-san in the toilet and stuff like that. That shit really kind of peaked in the 90s when I first came to Japan as an elementary school kid. So it's content that is deeply relevant to my heart. You mean edgy Gen X humor where they relish the opportunity to say the word retard at any given moment? Yeah, and then talk about like Republicans and stuff like that when the Republican Party was still ruled by George W. Bush or George Bush Sr. and neocons and stuff like that instead of the current version of the Republican Party. It all seems very nostalgic. Do you like Mob Psycho? I have only watched a few episodes of Mob Psycho. In retrospect, I don't watch much anime. I'm much more of a manga guy. Also, I'm not a huge One fan. I read One Punch Man because of I want to see Murata's art, not because of One's story making. You would have hated the old English dub of Shin-chan, LMAO. I can't imagine Shin-chan in anything other than the Japanese version. I can't even imagine what his voice would sound like. The Japanese version of his voice is so iconic. That one. Misae! That thing. So I don't even know what the English version of Shin-chan sounds like. Along with G.I. Joes, my mother also forbid me from enjoying Kureon Shin-chan because she thought that I was misogynistic, which in retrospect I can't really disagree with her appraisement of it being misogynistic, but it's still an awesome anime, and misogyny is a lot of fun, so I still like it. Who is the Troy Baker of Japanese voice actors? I mean, there's a ton of Japanese voice actors that are sort of in a shit ton of things, but I feel like the Japanese seiyuu industry isn't that weird, like, nepotism, only this, like, 5 people get jobs, that weird situation that America seems to have at all, so... Like, if you check any kind of Wikipedia page on the voices, like, voice acting careers of any Japanese voice actor, you'll be like, okay, this guy is super famous. You must have, you know, a shit ton of jobs. And then he'll be like, they'll still have, like, jobs like bystander number 4 and stuff like that, so... After they've had, like, extremely large, successful roles, they'll still have, like, tiny bit roles as well. Why do Shin-chan movies have such high production level, Sakuga? I'm not sure. I don't know how the budgeting works on these things. They're famous for having these, like, super dynamic action sequences and stuff. But for me, the most important contribution that Shin-chan has ever made is single-handedly, or at least the movies have ever made, is single-handedly developing the fetish of hairegu, haigure. I'm sure you guys are already familiar with haigure fetish, but it's the first movie of Kureon Shin-chan in which an evil organization that puts women and men in high leg high cut leotards invades the planet, and it mind controls people into wearing these high cut leotards and then making this V shape around their crotch. What, bruh? I love mind control. Surely everybody knows this. It's its own porn genre in Japan. It's like a combination of both mind control and like public humiliation. This is the first Kureon Shinchan movie. Here. Let me enlighten you people. That's from Shinchan? Yeah, it's literally their first movie, and they create a fucking fetish that lasts for the next 30 years. Here. It is, in fact, this movement in which they wear the high cut leotard and start doing this weird movement that has created a massive, 30-year long following of this fetish. Saw that weird post and wonder if it was some time-ending stuff? No, it's from like 1990 or something, basically. This thing has existed since I was in elementary school. And they were, peddling this shit for kids. Wait, my ship post wasn't supposed to be hot. Yeah, that's basically the entirety of Kureon Shinchan, if you think about it. It's like, guys, don't you understand? It's supposed to be just a joke. Why does that grandpa look like the Detective Conan's doctor? I guess it was before Detective Conan. It might be like right around the same time. Ball is like 50 years ago. I'm still 38, guys. I'm still younger than LeBron. I will always be younger than LeBron, somehow. Most fetishes are from some weird, obscure child event or trauma, so that checks out. Yes. You get them early. Who started the whole Jim Bloomers thing? Japanese fashion sense. That's what. Someone thought that the correct attire for female students in gym between the 70s and 80s in Japanese culture should be these, booty shorts, essentially. And because like we just said, it's like childhood trauma, so all these kids, their first awakening to sex was seeing the shape of the ass of their fellow classmates in 1984. They have forever become bloomer fetishists. May your hairline hold the line better than LeBron's. LeBron was fucking doomed from the beginning. Unfortunately, LeBron is very high testosterone, so his fate was sealed. My father still has all of his hair, So I should be fine. I'll just go white, gray and white. I'll look like a silver fox. It didn't save the birth rates. Abe in shambles. It's not like people aren't having sex, they're just not having kids. That's the problem. Aren't they like track and field shorts? Not discounting that a pervert probably institute them, but still. I mean, everybody has a track and field short fetish as well nowadays. Society is in a constant struggle between revealing female attire, making men permanently horny for women, and then feminists being like, no, men shouldn't be horny looking at women, and then other women being like, I don't care if men are horny looking at me, and the men being like, yes, please let us see your ass, and then the feminists being like, actually it's totally fine for men to look at female bodies because it's sexual liberation, and then the next wave of feminists being like, no, no, wait, we're going back on that. Men are exploiting women's bodies when they look at them, can't make up their mind. Men should wear shorter shorts too. You wouldn't understand this, but besides the leg movement, men have to consider stuff like how well the balls stay in the shorts. Shit can't be too baggy because then your testicles are just sort of flopping around. But they can't be too tight either because you don't want your testicles to be like stuck to your legs. It's a delicate balance of support. It's basically like the problems that women have with their boobs when they want to move around. So what essentially men need is a male version of the sports bra for their dick and balls. I guess we have that in the form of like sports cups and stuff, but yeah, I don't think it's been solved yet. Did you change your brush? I'm using a different brush for coloring in the blacks if you're talking about my current brush. I've been using the same combination of brushes but in different amounts. If you're just talking about the line work, I'm still using calligraphy standard, which is the calligraphy brush that comes with Clip Studio Paint by default, plus the brush pen brush, which is for like Japanese calligraphy. They're both different variations of brushes that you're supposed to use for like doing lettering instead of doing pen work, but I like both of them. And the biggest change that I make is the stabilization. So that might be what you're looking at. Sometimes I raise the stabilization, sometimes I lower it. Like when I have super low stabilization on the calligraphy brush, I can make these extremely squiggly, sort of amateurish looking lines. And then just by increasing the stabilization, that goes away. So I fiddle with that all the time, even within the same picture, depending on how I feel like it should look like. I thought you were using Real G Pen. I still have it. It's like my third brush. I haven't figured out what brush I want to use for backgrounds and stuff. Because, you know, I have so little experience in background, so I haven't really figured that out yet. But these three right here, Standard, the brush pen, and then Real G Pen are sort of my three go-to pens. And I alternate between them depending on what I'm trying to draw. For example, a lot of these, like the thicker lines that I have for Ryoko, Those are the brush pen. Draw lines like this. These really sharp lines that stretch. I use the brush pen for that. Man, this remix fucking sucks. What the fuck? I think they actually like slowed it down or something. Weird. Romantic Parisian morning. If it says Parisian, that just means it's fucking accordion music. How can you call yourself a real red-blooded American without owning a gun, Keikona? I've thought of owning a gun, and I don't because if I had a gun in my house, the temptation to use it to commit suicide at some point would be too much. That's the primary reason why I probably won't own a gun. Like, I'm feeling pretty good about my life right now, but if it's like, hey guys, there's always the easy way out just sitting in your drawer at some point, it's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have a gun in the house. The whole point of owning a gun is to shoot cans off fences in order to impress the ladies and also like dueling. Yes, when someone insults your honor, you take out your dueling pistols. 50 paces. Your mom probably wouldn't like a gun in the house either. I think in terms of ranking foreign objects that would get me kicked out of my mother's house, number one would probably be cigarettes and weed, way more than a gun. If I was like, I'm gonna start smoking, I'd probably get kicked out of the house within like a few days. Also, a girlfriend would probably be pretty high up there as well. My mother has never actually had to deal with like a normal young man with actual relationships who would be like trying to bring his girlfriend into the house so they can like fuck and stuff. So she doesn't know how annoyed she would be if I actually was like constantly bringing other foreign people into the house. And she's like, "Oh, go ahead, do it at any time. I wouldn't mind." It's like, "Yeah, you probably would." How would Mama Ball react if she found your life-size sex doll? I don't think she actually cares about my life-size sex doll. She tried to limit my masturbation opportunities when I was growing up, but I think I've won that battle. Did she break your arms? I know this is impossible for the Zoomers in chat to understand, but back in 99, not every computer in the house had internet access, and there weren't a lot of porn sites, so parents would try and install like the equivalent of ad block for letting kids see porn, and you would just browse other sites until you got ones that weren't properly blocked by, whatever porn blockers. But kids didn't have their own personal computers in 99, which meant that you had to use the house computer when your parents were out shopping and try and masturbate within like the 30-minute frame and then delete the history and then pretend like you weren't touching their computer. It was a different time. Does your mom hate new people or you dating in general? I think she just doesn't want people to interrupt whatever she wants to do. She's one of those persons that wants her way or the highway at all times. So I think if I was actually like disturbing her with having like a girlfriend come into the house and shit like that, she might get annoyed after a while. But obviously that's not going to happen anytime soon. So she's safe. She doesn't have to worry about it. 30 minutes is more than enough time. Yes, but what if I want to actually read the entire story of Evangelion or Bondage Fairies? What then? Remember that if I want to read a single manga page, it's going to take about 50 seconds to load one JPEG image. Truly establishing the American need for love hotels. I mean, Americans have cars, so it's not as bad as Japan, but love hotels are dope, so Americans should have love hotels anyways, even if they have, you know, their cars and stuff. Nobody is jizzing in my Honda. I have a seat cover on my side, and the seat cover is getting discolored because not because of all the semen that's coming out of my body, but just because of the sweat. Because when I sit in the driver's seat on the way home from the gym, because I'm showering at home, I think the salt coming out of my sweaty ass is creating like this white salt deposit on the seat. So I'm glad I have this cover for the seat, because if I didn't, I might be ruining my car's resale value. Thank you for clarifying. Guys don't just get to like jizz nonstop on their car seats. It's not like the hentais in which like the guy in the hentai comes once and just the entire room is covered in sticky white stuff. Imagine if we actually came as much as hentai characters do. How much work it would be to clean shit up. I mean, the cleaning industry would be booming. If you're like, oh, I'm gonna come! And then just like the entire fucking living room is just sprayed from top to bottom and just come everywhere. Conflation isn't real, not with that attitude. I'm not a huge fan of conflation, to be honest. I prefer if they would just do a time skip and just like jump ahead to show that she's pregnant with baby instead of fake impregnation with semen. Although I do sort of appreciate like the hentai in which there's some amount of cum inflation going on, and then like the orc steps on the stomach and then it squirts out like a water balloon. That's okay, I guess. Even if men jizz buckets, they'd still think a single Kleenex would be enough to wipe it up. Hey man, Kleenex is it's a national brand for a reason. Such a great dependable wipe. The music is extremely quiet now. Jesus Christ, you people complain. Oh, it's too loud. I can't hear you. Oh, it's too quiet. Blah, 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 blah. Make up your fucking mind. Bounty bros. Deathstriker as a female, what is your opinion on the brawny man? Is the brawny man sexy? He kind of feels like the Chad that would be like, hey, stop talking to my girlfriend, but actually lose in a fight if he got in a fight. I liked him better with the mustache. Yeah, this is like the there's a lot of different versions now that I look at it. Honestly, the original brawny man doesn't look that brawny. Who can win a fight, Brawny Man or Mr. Clean? That's what we're all thinking, right? Who is stronger, Mr. Clean or Brawny Man? I like dudes who look like 70s jocks, not gonna lie. You've already telegraphed this, considering in literally every single stream you talk about how men's shorts need to be shorter, so I think you've given away yourself regarding that one. Are you still bulking? I'm neither bulking nor dieting right now. I think I'm in okay weight. I don't really, I'm like 173 on a light day and like 175 on a heavy day, so I think that's fine. I can really only focus on one thing at a time in life, so right now I'm focusing on drawing instead of worrying about like diet stuff. I love a good golden retriever boyfriend or a himbo, but I am willing to tolerate a few brain cells. It sounds like I'm talking to Makima or something. That or the female version of the Rick and Morty copy pasta. I'm only willing to date a man with similar IQ as me, but preferably lower. Makima loses to anal. I've seen Makima lose to the penis demon multiple times, so I'm not that afraid of her. The penis demon in the Chainsaw Man universe is very powerful. That's right, devil. They say devil in English instead of demon. Is that Eureka from Martian successor Nabisco? Yes. Nothing like a delicious Oreo cookie in space. That Dojin exists? Yeah, and also like a million AI porn with big black cock. The mass fear of sloppy toppy is resulting in the manifestation of a devil. That's sort of been the Twitter horror art scene for the last 8 years or so. Is just people being like, oh my god, guys, the one thing I'm afraid of is spooky ghost woman who gives me blowjob. Oh my god. That would be so horrible and spooky, guys. Isn't that right? Oh man, this Japanese female ghost. Oh, she's so tall and she has such big boobs. I'm terrified. Oh! We've been doing this for like the last 6 years in different formats. It was like Hashaku-sama and Lady Dimitrescu and Sadako for like 10 million Sadako. Jokes about her not being able to get through the TV because her ass is too fat. Everybody just terrified of the concept of hot ghost women sucking their cock. That would be horrible. The asexual devil would be kind of litty. Isn't that just like David Bowie in the Labyrinth or something? Maybe that's I guess it's androgynous devil, not asexual devil. He's pretty fucking sexual. What about a hot ghost man that sucks your dick, Gachi Hyper? No, there are no hot ghost guys that are gonna suck your dick. Stop being ridiculous. It's only limited to hot ghost women. David Bowie in the Labyrinth activated puberty in me. Everyone being like, oh no, I sure want to go back to my shitty Midwestern town with my annoying brother instead of being the sex slave of David Bowie in his Goblin Kingdom said every woman ever. Haha, that would be so horrible. Can I use the magic brush? I'm gonna say no. This doesn't look like it. What if I merge down? Oh, I know what I have to do. I need to go like this. Select, invert selected area? Is this working? I don't think so. God, anytime you try and like automate shit in this, it never actually works. Oh yeah, there's just too much, if you want to do stuff like hair, you just have to do it by hand, honestly. I can try and connect all of these lines and hope that that will allow me to use the auto selection brush, but it almost never works. Like everything has to be like completely connected. You almost always just have to do shit by hand. Like even like this tiny fucking gap right here is enough to just fuck up the whole auto selection process. Let's see, let's try again. I'm trying to shorten my work time. Yeah, that's basically what you get. All right, fuck this. We have to do this by hand. Ultimately, you just need assistants to do that shit for you. Is what it comes down to. Same rule applies to Oh My Goddess. The more love interest bullies to protagonist, the more praise she deserves. I can't remember what happens in Oh My Goddess. I only care about brown sexo goddess. I don't give a fuck about Belle Dandy. Brown sexo goddess is the biggest bully, so based. I see you're a man with taste as well. I mean, who the fuck is gonna... What's her name? Is it Sigurd? I can't remember. Like, if you actually got to choose... Who the fuck is choosing this thing over the brown on the right? Oh, Urdo. Urdo in manga. Oh shit, he actually drew fucking Joshi Kosei high school version of her. Sexo sexo. Is there anything hotter than 1,000-year-old goddess being asked to dress up like a high school girl so you can have sex with her? Also, the author of this manga is based because he got infatuated with, I forgot, I guess she was like a young voice actress. So in order to promote her career, he forced her into the Tales series. And he basically single-handedly ruined the Tales franchise, which is incredibly based. Truly thinking with his dick. Oh, I think he was having an affair while he was doing that as well. Maximum dick thinking energy. Also, he didn't finish his series after like 30 years, so that is that too. With the toast, you must make her have toast in her mouth, so when she's running to school, she'll run into you and be like, ah! And then you can get in an argument and be like, God, I hate that bitch. And then 5 minutes later, when you get to school, they'll be like, we're introducing a new transfer student. And it's like, what? It's that girl from earlier. How can this be? You know? Standard anime plotline. I thought I was sitting next to Baal at the udon shop. He sounded like you. You're not in London, are you? Why would I ever speak if I'm at the udon shop? I'd just be slurping my udon. Even if you were sitting next to me, I wouldn't be making any conversation, so you wouldn't know who I am. I'd just be eating my udon in silence. Would you rather show Discord your junk or your face? Probably my face. Honestly, I can't be proud of my penis if it's not like so massively, overwhelmingly large that it inspires fear and awe. So I think I'd rather just show my face. If a woman isn't terrified of you when you show your penis, then you probably shouldn't be showing it to anyone. A man's dream isn't for a woman to be like, oh, that penis looks like it will sufficiently provide me with pleasure. They want her to be like, I am terrified of you. You'd show dick on stream, obviously. Exactly. I was gonna make the joke that if I showed my penis on stream, I'd be get a 2-week suspension or something. But then I remembered that that only applies to women who are literally having sex. So I'd probably be banned for life. Twitch is not as forgiving if you're a guy. Dick pics for me are a sign that we must duel. I feel like if I showed my penis, people are like, your penis is bent, which it is. So I'm not gonna show it. That was my first college roommate. He flashed his dick once and this chick screamed and ran out of the dorm. Yeah, but that was probably wasn't because it was so massive and impressive, right? It was probably she was just like being a prude. What you want is you want like these super giga sluts, you know, succubus women who are like, oh, don't worry, I won't laugh at you even if it's small, tee-hee. And then when she pulls down her pants, it gives her a concussion because the baby's arm-sized dick pops out with the force of a cannon and smacks her across the chin, and she goes to the hospital. Didn't the CEO of Twitch use his professional email for a porn account? I mean, isn't that basically what Twitch is at this point? When she pulls down her pants? What? Oh, well, I'm trying to have multiple conversations here. I'm sure there's plenty of guys who want a woman with a massive cock as well, but, alas, they're not very available. Ball is into futa now. I prefer women without penises. I can't speak for a lot of other men, unfortunately. Bingo card? Look, you guys suggest something else to talk about besides futa cocks and I'll talk about it. It's not my fault that you keep on dragging me into this conversation when I don't want to talk about it. Above all, you prefer no women at all, or people, or living things? Yeah. The cat in our house is getting pretty annoying as well. The combination of the cat just constantly making cat noises because she's old and senile and annoying, and then my mother actually having cat conversations with the cat is getting on my nerves, not gonna lie. It's getting pretty annoying. I wish they'd both shut the fuck up. Would you kiss your Himekat waifu after she suck you off? I'd make her properly like swish the cum out of her mouth, then I might kiss her. Kiss her lightly on the cheek. When are thighs too big? If they're tight, muscular thighs, then they can be as large as you want them to be. If they're fat, flabby thighs, then they become too big very quickly. Nobody wants fat, unathletic thighs with no tone or muscle definition. Today's the last day I'm visiting a friend, and whenever she's out of the house, her cat will straight up cannonball onto the desk and fuck up my workstation. No cum kissies. Look, I tried tasting my own cum once. It's a mistake I'll never do again. If the women who want to swallow cum and enjoy that experience, go ahead, but I would never ask them to do it. That's some of the worst tasting shit I've ever put in my mouth. It's just not something that's meant to be ingested. It's kind of like snot. Flavorless, but somehow also has a horrible aftertaste. It was never meant as something that you were supposed to put in your mouth. They say pineapple juice helps. Pineapple juice does not help. I mean, what do they mean by help? Do they mean like you have your pineapple juice ready so that you just like swish out your mouth to get the aftertaste out? Or do you have the pineapple juice? Do you get your boyfriend to drink the pineapple juice so that his cum tastes like pineapple juice? I don't understand how we're supposed to use the pineapple juice in this scenario. Jizz does taste worse if you eat meat. Jizz was just never meant to taste good, guys. I know this is gonna, you know, it's gonna shatter your dreams about having your anime waifu addicted to your cum, but it just doesn't work like that. I heard diabetes makes your jizz taste sweet. I think diabetes makes like all of your body fluids taste sweet because your body is literally just like leaking sugar because it can't keep sugar inside the body. It's not a good state. Your body is, it's just falling apart when you get diabetes basically, and all your sugar is coming out in your piss, it's coming out in your cum. Obviously, this is not a good situation. Try and not get diabetes, guys. Apparently, doctors used to taste piss if it was sweet to diagnose diabetes. So, in Japanese, diabetes literally means sugar in urine. Tonyo-byo, sickness of sugar in urine. Straightforward explanation. Japanese does tend to have the best literal meanings, like penguins being apparently called business goose. I don't know. They're just called penguin. They have like made up characters for a bunch of shit for things that were discovered later. But nobody knows actually how to I've never seen the character for penguin in my life. Let's look it up right now. Penguin kanji. So there's 3 different characters. One is human bird because it's like standing and walking. Another is this is the Chinese version of this. Qi is a character that's often used in business, but it's Chinese, so it means more like to stand up. And I don't even know what this character is. Anyways, if you're learning Japanese, there's a shit ton of stuff where you're like, oh, of course, this character makes so much sense. And then you're like, no, nobody in Japan actually uses that character. There's the Japanese that people actually use in Japan, and then the Japanese that you think that you're learning, and they're not necessarily related. AI overview. I mean, I'm not going to go 3 web pages deep to figure that shit out. AI is getting better, I guess. I still wouldn't trust it for like any real information, but I mean, if I just pull up Twitter right now, I can just be like, Grok, alright guys, let's waste about $5,000 worth of electricity and server processing to generate this. In the neon glow of the McDonaldland skyline, Ronald McDonald adjusted his red wig in the mirror, his painted smile hiding the exhaustion of another day spent ruling his fast food empire. Grimace waited for him back at the Fry Guy's sprawling estate, a plush lavender blob sprawled across a velvet chased lounge. Their romance was an oddity even in McDonaldland, the sharp-edged clown and the soft, bumbling mound. Damn, I never felt that mound was a particularly sexy word, even when referring to the female sexual organ, but once you start referring to Grimace as a mound, it suddenly sounds extremely lewd. Enter the Hamburglar. The wiry masked trickster had always been a thorn in Ronald's side, pilfering burgers with a cackle and a twirl of his cape. Grimace sat alone one evening, the mansion quiet save for the hum of the shake machine. Grimace turned, spilling a dollop of strawberry shake. Why isn't he drinking his Grimace shake? Is the Grimace shake actually made out of Grimace? Is that what's going on? The only time you can actually drink Grimace shake is if you put Grimace into the shake machine. Hamburglar, his striped shirt taut over his lean frame. A burger dangling from his nimble fingers. Hamburglar, what are you doing here? Ronald's coming back soon. Sure he is, always leaving you behind, ain't he? A sweet thing like you deserves better. His fingers lingered, tracing the curve of Grimace's side. I mean, I guess Grimace is curved, right? It's just sort of round. It's like an outward curve, like a ball. The sensation was wrong, thrillingly wrong. Ronald returned one night, arms full of gifts, milkshakes mix, a plush Fry Guy doll. Hamburglar watched from the shadows, licking his lips. He'd taste Grimace's submission. The game wasn't over. Grimace is concave instead of convex, true. The outward curve. And then you can just like keep on, you can just be like, please continue this story. Please continue this story, but have the Hamburglar offer Grimace's body to, what's the mayor's name? To the mayor. Mayor McCheese. For giving his hamburger crimes. Here we go. Let's use another $10 million of electricity. The deal in the shadows. The nights grew heavier for Grimace, each one a tangled mess of guilt and yearning. Ronald's warm presence besides him, his striped arm draped carelessly over Grimace's plush form. I mean, is Grimace supposed to be like a plush body, or is he supposed to be like some sort of like slime blob or something? Ronald's too good for you, Grim. Too busy. You're just a side dish to him. Look how much fucking text they generate with one of these prompts. There's no way the whole AI business is profitable long-term in any way. I fucking hate the word plush in this context. Wait, let's check Rule 34. I want to see how many Grimace pages there are. This is important content, guys. Rule 34. Grimace. Oh god. Wait, seriously? Is this the right Grimace? I'm getting 2,458 images for Grimace. Oh, no, wait, that's a different Grimace. It must be. Oh, it's just like the literal face. Okay, Grimace McDonald's. Okay, there's only 108 Grimace McDonald's images. And most of it is either Grimace fucking your hentai waifu, female version of Grimace, or gay bada version of Grimace. I guess that covers all the bases. Oh man, wow, that's impressive. There's actual like female Grimace that maintains the Grimace body form. The whole McDonald's mascot canon is so bizarre. Why do they have like 30 mascots? Why do they have like the McDonald's internal cinematic universe? Like all the other fast food chains have one mascot. Why does McDonald's have like 8? They have to have like a bird for the chicken nuggets or whatever, and a character who's literally a criminal who's stealing hamburgers. Like, why do they need the Hamburglar in the first place? Is he there to just like emphasize that McDonald's hamburgers are so good that you're willing to live a life of crime just to get your hands on them? I don't understand where these ideas come from. I feel like he's an artifact of the 90s when Nike executives were like, did you hear that these teenagers are shooting each other to get their hands on Jordans? And they're like, oh shit, that's awesome. I fucking love that our products are so popular, it's literally causing kids to murder each other over them. You won't know the pronunciation of it with onyomi kunyomi without that context. I don't know much about Hanzi, but it's very difficult to impossible to read if you learn Japanese. I don't know what other language you're talking about, but onyomi kunyomi is extremely inconsistent as well. There's a lot of situations in which you think you're supposed to use onyomi, but instead you use kunyomi or vice versa. And there's weird situations in which you use neither. The location names and stuff are especially bad when it comes to this issue. The correct reading of stuff in Japanese is just... it's a fucking impossible task. Up until a few years back, I had never heard of Grimace before. Grimace has been in the news quite a lot recently, hasn't he? With the combination of the Grimace Shake memes, and then Grimace being like a major part of the New York Mets season and stuff like that. All these weird Grimace stuff coming out. The Grimace Shake leading to porn of your favorite hentai girl getting grimaced, just getting covered in purple stuff. I should have drank the Grimace Shake when I had an opportunity. I fucked up on that one. Grimace is nowhere in Europe, really? Man, McDonald's need to get their shit together. How much the meaning in cinegraphic characters differ in Chinese and Japanese. The phonetic elements are irrelevant when reading, so if they have the same meanings, that suggests learning Chinese is also learning the most challenging aspect of Japanese, which is the kanji. The kanji is not the most challenging aspect of Japanese. That's a newbie opinion. That's fucking noob. What makes Japanese so hard for Americans is the grammatical structure is different. And it's also an extremely vague language with layers upon layers. You don't have to learn a shit ton of characters in Japanese to be functional in Japanese society. But that's because characters aren't the most difficult part of learning Japanese. It's probably the most difficult part about learning Chinese. I wouldn't know, but I assume it is because you can't even like structure a sentence without characters. But theoretically, you can get by on a much fewer number of characters in Japanese. You just need to learn, like, I don't know, elementary school levels of characters. How big is Monster Hunter in Japan? Pretty big. But after Monster Hunter Worlds, it might actually be, like, even bigger outside of Japan at this point. Monster Hunter World really sort of opened a new layer of fandom, it seems. I mean, it was really big in Japan because it was on the PlayStation Portable, so you would have all these high schoolers just sort of, you know, chill out with their PSPs in the 2000s. A very big problem with learning Japanese is that it's an isolated language, so there are no real reference points. The problem is that you guys don't have Japanese Yamato Damashi samurai spirit like I do. You don't embody the way of the samurai. Commit Sudoku to maintain your honor now. Wait, when is Assassin's Creed Shadows coming out? That reminds me. It's coming out like really soon, right? You got spirit. I thought you were dead inside. Nothing embodies the Japanese spirit more than being completely dead inside. You would know this if you got on a train in Tokyo at any point and looked at the eyes of the salarymen who have to go to work at 6 a.m. and then come back at midnight. It's coming out on March 20th. We have 10 more days until the end of Ubisoft. I'm so hyped. I've been getting the desire to play Monster Hunter Wilds recently, but I've been using my willpower to hold it back. Because I know that they're going to be adding content later, so there's really no point in buying it new. It's such a weird business strategy, but I guess it doesn't really punish the companies because most people can't actually wait if they actually want to. The people who are excited enough to want to play video games like Monster Hunter probably don't have the willpower to wait until it's cheaper anyways, so it probably doesn't actually hurt these game companies. It's pretty fun. I'm sure it's pretty fun. It's just that I know I'm gonna have more fun if I wait, you know, a year and a half. So needed another 6 months in the oven for proper endgame. I was so disappointed with Dragon's Dogma 2, which needed probably another year and a half as well, maybe a year, even if we're being optimistic. I don't know. I think Capcom is one of the few game companies that I still think is capable of producing good video games, but their shareholders and management clearly aren't giving them enough time to spit these things out. And most of their games, you know, are released about 8 months or maybe a year early. And at least they keep on adding stuff for things like their flagships like Monster Hunter, but I doubt we're going to get anything added for Dragon's Dogma at this point. Dragon's Dogma 2 was the biggest disappointment of my life, but I still put 100 hours into it. When I was playing Dragon's Dogma 2, I played it so long, non-stop, without properly taking breaks that my eyes started to hurt and I was like started to cry because I had so much like eye fatigue because I hadn't fucking taken a break in like 12 hours and shit. And I was just like, oh, I gotta keep on playing. And then I reached the point where I was like, oh wait, I've played all the content. What the fuck? That's it? It was like 30 hours played in like 2 days. And I was like, wait. I've seen what there is to show. What the fuck, Capcom? Are you serious? You released another incomplete Dragon's Dogma? This must be a fucking joke. But, you know, most video games you can't convince me to play for 15 hours straight. So, it has a really good base to build on. It's just that isn't enough. It just doesn't have enough content, unfortunately. Persona 5. I still haven't finished Persona 5. I'm playing Final Fantasy 8 right now. Besides all the time I'm spending working on my manga, which is, you know, unlimited amount of time. So, besides that, I'm planning to finish Final Fantasy 8, finish Dragon Quest 11, finish Persona 5, and finish Wrath of the Righteous. Probably not in that order. I don't know. Do I really want to finish Persona 5? My core problem with Persona 5 is that I don't particularly like the cast of Persona 5. I don't like hanging out with those guys, which is sort of a critical flaw. I just don't like being in their company. What about the Suikoden remaster? How about instead of the Suikoden remaster, I play the original on my PlayStation 1. The original Japanese version. It only costs... Let's see. Oh shit, they're selling it for 18 bucks. I guess it's because it's pre-owned. What if I choose new? New, it's going at 400 bucks, but if you can get like a used version for 18 bucks, that's just a normal price. I thought it was like super giga expensive. If you don't like the characters, then probably no. Yeah, there's just not much that really I don't know, gets my brain juices going for Persona 5. Not in the way that I was like in Persona 4, where it was just like, these are my friends. These are my real friends, unlike my friends in the real world. My short-haired tomboy kung fu meat-eating girlfriend understands me. Unlike these disgusting Americans. Is Persona 4 like the most weeb game that you can have, honestly? If you're like one of these weebs living in America one day, going to Japan, and you want to imagine your idyllic life in the Japanese countryside with your friends that all understand you and suck your dick, where you're finally the main character. Is there any video game that embodies that better than Persona 4? I don't think so. Persona 4 came out on Milk during the best time for that. It was like peak weeb culture, I would say. It was the same time when I was going to college, and when I would go to the cafeteria, there was one, you know, neckbeard weeb who was wearing a fucking Naruto headband just unironically in public, and I was like, holy shit. Let me make sure to never ever speak to him. I see Persona 4 Anime Expo orgy posts. I'm guessing it's like unattractive white and black people. Lots of black weebs regarding Persona 4 as well. Dressing up as their favorite Persona characters and having extremely unattractive sex. Damn, that's so hot. You pretend you're Naoto, and I'll pretend I'm Kanji. And you can show me that I'm not gay by pretending that you're a woman. Ayo, what the fuck? What, are you saying that you don't want to participate in our Persona 4 role-playing sex orgy? Don't be weird, dude. This is just normal anime culture. Persona 4 orgy at Denny's, no kanji, there's too many kanjis. Which would be... Wouldn't the most people try and be the main character, though? Alright, because now we've mentioned Persona 4, we have to listen to Persona 4 music. You should just show up with your full Teddy Kigurumi, and then expose your tight pussy. Pull down your Teddy foam costume and show your asshole. I don't want to roleplay, fuck that. Wow, you're being very uncooperative. Orgies at anime expos are a whole other eldritch horror I don't want to deeply think about. The reason I know about these things in the first part is because of YouTube videos about the furry orgies, like, what was it, Rainforest? Rainforest 2019 and stuff. Furry diaper orgies. I remember stories about the guy at the Gamescom who shit in line in front of the Fortnite stand. Hashtag just gamer things. Non-gamers could never understand. Am I right, fellow gamers? Just shitting ourselves in front of the Fortnite stand. I love that Gamescom is a professional conference I have to go to, then shit like that happens. Those are your most loyal customers, my friend. The ones that are willing to shit themselves to be marketed to. I wonder if he was like, I'm in line for the Fortnite booth or whatever, so I don't want to get out of line. I've been in line for 15 minutes. I don't want to give up my place. Oh man, I'm just gonna shit. Yeah, no one will notice. What was the mentality that was going through his mind as he shit himself? These are important questions we must ask. Do they keep the furry suit on the whole weekend? I'm guessing for most of the weekend they do, yes. Imagine the smell. Furries are like sexual demons. Otakus are more isolated 2D girls over 3D girls. Yeah, but when the otakus come out into the real world, they sort of become 3D demons, just like the furries. Alright, here we go. Time to listen to the Velvet Room soundtrack for 10 million hours. As you try and figure out the most efficient version of devil combinations. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Yeah, Aria of Souls. Oh, ho, ho. I can't remember. Did Persona 4 have the blindfolded opera singer in it? In the previous versions of the Velvet Room, there was like this hot female character in the Velvet Room that she was like an opera singer, but she had a blindfold on. Oh, it was only Persona 2? Yeah. What did Persona 4 have? I can't even remember. Oh, is it the car? Was it? No. Was it just like the back of the limo? I can't remember. Okay, it's the back of the limo, yeah. As much as I say I like Persona 4, I do admit that Persona 5, being in prison with two lowly prison guards stepping on your cock with their metaphysical, lowly, high-heel boots is superior to Persona 4. Can't beat that. No, please. Lowly prison guard, Sama. Don't bully my penis. You don't like Marie and her poems? I have not played Golden at all, actually. I played the original version in Japanese, and I haven't played their expensive expansion versions. Epstein Room. If you had to choose between Margaret, Elizabeth, and the twins, and Igor, which is your favorite sexual metaphor of demon fusing host. We're just fusing demons, guys. It's not actual sex. I need to stop buying Persona SMT games on release, knowing they'll eventually drop the expanded version a year later. The problem with that is that the Persona games are one of the few games that still exist where they might actually have a good story plot twist that you'll get spoiled for if you're on the internet. I still regret not beating Persona 4 quickly enough that I wasn't given the opportunity to figure out the killer on my own. I got spoiled before. Because I was like checking Persona 4 doujins, and what's his name just shows up, and I'm like, fuck. I think I might have just fucked up my video game experience. But yeah, the doujin authors released porn before I could beat the game, and that robbed me of being Sherlock Holmes roleplay. Adachi, yeah, I'm trying not to spoil it for everybody else, although at this point it's obviously meaningless. I may as well also spoil the point that Aerith dies. I'm sorry, guys. Aerith, she's not gonna make it. Although, with all the remakes, who knows, she might make it. I like taking my video game playthroughs slowly, and I usually don't care if I get spoiled in that context. But in the case of Persona, considering the entire thing is supposed to be like a murder mystery, and they give you an opportunity to guess the actual culprit, I could have had an extremely Kino Sherlock Holmes moment if I was successful in correctly guessing the murderer, but yeah, I got spoiled on that, so that was sort of a shame. High-key gonna be annoyed if they retcon Aerith dying. Wait, so in the second Final Fantasy VII Remake, how far does it go? Didn't it get all the way to the point where she gets stabbed and she didn't get stabbed? I saw a clip on 4chan of her not getting stabbed. You didn't finish Rebirth? I'm not gonna play Rebirth until I finish Remake, and I haven't finished Remake, and I might not play Rebirth at all. She gets stabbed. It was a double fake out. Alternative universe bullshit. I mean, what's the point of having a remake if they're not going to allow you to save Aerith in the first place? You know what really tells me that Square Enix doesn't fucking know what they're doing? All they had to do was they had to make a remake of Final Fantasy VII with branching paths that allow you to change major parts of the story, like being able to save Aerith, without going into this weird breaking the fourth wall meta-narrative. But instead they had to be like, look, these are the Time Jannies, canon story ghosts and stuff like that in the first remake game. I was just like, why the fuck do you need this? We all understand it's a video game. You just need to put in the option to change large parts of the story on your own, and everyone will understand. It's like, this is an expanded version of Final Fantasy VII with, you know, new plots that you can activate, or you can play it in this and have the same plot as the first, like the original video game. But instead they were like, no, we have to have the fucking Time Jannies show up. Ugh. Have you done the Fruity Dance minigame in Remake? I haven't finished Remake 1, and I haven't touched Rebirth, so I don't even know which one you're talking about. There's so much fruity, stupid shit in Modern Square. As someone who's currently playing original Final Fantasy VIII in its original version, it's just like the total amount of talent that they have at that time in like 1998. It's almost like overwhelming. And when you compare that, you can like feel it in every part of the game, even though a lot of like the technological elements are outdated. And it's sort of the opposite when you're playing Modern Square games. It's just like, damn, they just don't have as much talent on board. Is it morally wrong to put your dick in a stab wound? Just remember to ask for consent. I see a lot of that when I just am browsing R34 Guro and stuff like that. Is one of the things that the Guro and stuff fetishists like doing is like sticking the penis in the brain hole and brain fucking. It doesn't seem like a particularly good location to put your penis in, but what would I know? Final Fantasy VIII gets a bad rap for no good reason. As someone who's replaying Final Fantasy VIII right now, I will. If your complaint is that some of the game systems are bad, I won't argue with that. I think like the junction system is an objectively bad system in terms of like maintaining difficulty levels and keeping gameplay actually fun. It's a game system that people who are used to normal RPGs will not understand what's going on and like over level and like not be able to complete the game. And people who are able to figure out the system can easily make your characters completely overpowered. It's also a system that if you want to power up your characters, a lot of the gameplay ends up being the characters standing around using draw and sucking magic out of an enemy multiple times, or going into the menu and just refining items and stuff. But either way, it's if you thought that normal RPG leveling was boring, this is even more boring than that. So people who never fucked a vagina fetishizing fucking alternative holes, wow. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're not a specialist on fucking alternative holes, so I don't think you can criticize, brain fuckers without trying it yourself. It might be way better than sticking your penis in a vagina. Who are we to judge the people who want to have sex with an open wound? The junction system itself isn't that bad. The issue is how the game scales itself. Yeah, the scaling is extremely inconsistent. But at its core, the junction system is a system that penalizes you for using your own magic because you want to keep the magic for boosting your stats. So at its core, it's kind of like it dissuades you from engaging with some of the mechanics so you can maximize some of the other mechanics, which I would argue is it makes it a bad system. Put together as a game as a whole, it's still a very entertaining game, and it's that sort of weird idiosyncrasies that make it feel different from other video games, and I still love it very much for that. But I think if you were just analyzing it as a game system, I think you could say that it's objectively a bad system. Just take steroids until your clit grows into a penis. If there's one thing that I know from all my futa porn, is that women's clits just become penises naturally. If you're a woman and your clitoris isn't a futa cock the size of your arm, then what are you doing? How can you ever satisfy your man if you don't have a penis that is roughly the same length as a horse? Shame on you. Triple Triad is still the best video card game ever made. It really is amazing, isn't it? I mean, if Square Enix, instead of producing 10 million social games, that they shut down the servers after 4 months because they didn't get enough money, they should just have like online Triple Triad. It would be way easier to implement. There was at least one case of a female athlete being so pumped full of steroids that they effectively transitioned to become a man. I think that's the solution to everything, guys. Just use enough drugs. Easy. Pretty sure there was an online card game that came with original Final Fantasy XI. I don't think anyone played. Was there a Triple Triad? Maybe that was. I think there was Triple Triad in Final Fantasy XIV. Is what you're thinking about. Tetramaster Online, it was an extra $1 per month with your Final Fantasy XI subscription. Wow, that would get costly pretty quickly, considering those people are also probably paying another several $100s to each other to engage in cosplay, online, roleplay sex. in their guild house sex dungeons. Time them out, Ball. This stream is for pathetic loser virgins only. I can't raise my hand. Haven't recovered from fisting your mom. Constrictor, I don't believe that you're a loser virgin, so you're getting timed out. You seen that huge wyvern lady in Monster Hunter peak for real, for real? What, is this a new character that we don't know about yet? Is it new coup material that I have not discovered yet? It's going to be hard to beat the power of the double twin Wyvernian Himecut Miko Dami mommies we got in Rise, though. That's pretty peak design right there. The Capcom character designers went hard on that one. You can just feel like they're like, we're tired of beating around the bushes, we're going straight for the people's dicks. Monster Hunter Wilds. Wyvernian Guard. You guys actually know what the NPC is called? I'm trying to come here. What if I just Google Monster Hunter Wild Sexo? Well, I'm seeing several images of the blacksmith and several images of the fucking the mount. To the surprise of no one, people just want to fuck the dinosaur, I guess. The blacksmith friend zones you, but do you get to have sex with her? God damn, coloring and shit is so fucking boring, I hate it. I need assistance right now. Gemma has that Nico energy where she looks like she would agree to have sex with you if you ask her enough. I think Nico would agree to have sex with you if you asked her like once. I can't believe poor Nero has been cucked. Oh god, this is so fucking boring. Oh. The worst part is I don't really know... Fuck, I don't know the color balance, so I haven't really figured out like what parts I want to be in gray and what parts I want to be in like white and what parts I want to be in black. So I might like change all of this shit afterwards. So this might all be just like a fucking waste. That's the worst part. The problem is all these characters are designed for color. So I'm just trying to like figure out like how do I... Oh god, this is so annoying. Oh. I think if you gave them bigger tits, it'd be more appealing. This is like the same comment I have in every single fucking stream. There's always one person who's like, haha, I am joking about how female characters' boobs should be bigger. This is such a silly joke. Unless, you know, every single stream there's one person who's like, oh, it's so funny that I'm suggesting the boobs should be bigger. What a funny joke. Oh god, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? After spending like 30 minutes coloring in this selection area, I'm starting to think that maybe I don't want it after all. Oh god, fuck me. Ah. Have you seen the latest Fail Girl and Chainsaw Man, homie? I know this is gonna hurt all of you people, but I don't really care about Chainsaw Man girls. Even though I'm asked to draw them all the time. I'm so tired of this term. Isn't this a new term? Has the term fail girl appeared in the last 6 months and now people are already tired of it? What's a fail girl? It's probably some sort of Zoomer TikTok language. You don't need to memorize it. At this point, I'm just reading to see Denji get his well-deserved schlop job. If Denji has sex, it will destroy his character. He'll no longer be motivated to do anything. There were all these. I remember there's all these like Chainsaw Man truther hipsters who are like, this is the most well thought out, smartest manga on the planet, blah blah blah. And they were like, now that Denji has been used up by Makima, he's learning how that he wants to become like a real human being, and he's trying to think beyond his dick and have like a real family and find happiness. This is at like the earlier points of part 2 of Chainsaw Man, and how like the author is so, you know, such a great storyteller for figuring out these like deep core aspects of the human soul and shit like that. And we're, you know, years and years into part 2 now, and Denji is still being convinced to do stuff because he wants pussy, so his motivations haven't changed at all. Everyone who's like, Chainsaw Man is such advanced storytelling is, you know, getting shit on. It's pretty funny. How bad do you think Fujimoto's same face syndrome is? It's, out of a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10, because I read, the Chainsaw Man Part 1, when I was in Japan last year, and there are scenes in which I literally couldn't tell who was being killed and who was doing what, because the same face was so bad. Usually when you have same face syndrome, you try and find ways around it by giving every character distinct hairstyles and making sure they have different clothing. But in the case of Chainsaw Man, everybody's wearing a suit, and a lot of characters have the same fucking hairstyle as well. So it's just like a nightmare of telling who is who and who is doing what. And I'd constantly run into situations where I was like, wait, who is this character? Is this the same character as a different character that showed up 8 chapters ago? I can't even tell who the fuck this is. And if your audience has to stop reading and try and go back and figure out if this is a different character than, you know, some other character, that means you've completely failed as an artist. The whole point of a manga is like, your readers should be able to just like blaze through it and not have to think about that shit. So if you're forcing your readers to do that kind of work, that means that's like just a bad job as a professional. He should know better than that and be able to do better than that. But he's had the same face issues in his previous stories and stuff as well. Like Fire Punch has characters with the exact same face and the exact same hairstyle and shit as well. He has a real problem with it. Are we in a kill Tatsuki Fujimoto cycle? I think we're in a, most people don't care about Chainsaw Man Part 2, except for the people who are still Chainsaw Man stans, and they really care about Chainsaw Man. I think he's fully isolated, and his fan base is okay with that. Like, it's out of the mainstream dialogue, I think, at least in Japan. Because it's no longer in the main magazine, it's in the weekly, or the online version of Shonen Jump. So, it's just not as relevant anymore. I don't even know what this specialist thing you're talking about. What the fuck do you even mean by specialist? What is specialist? God, this shit is just... You people are just so terminally online. I have no idea what you're fucking talking about. It's a P4 meme. We're not doing P4 content right now, okay? What do you think of Sakamoto Days manga? Impressive background art. Not impressive in anything else. Shonen Jump has too many assassin mangas going on at the same time. To circle back to the topic of boobs, keep them the same size but increase the cleavage and add some areola. Congratulations, Constrictor. You have earned your 50th timeout. 49, 50. There we go. Don't ban this drone. Don't time them out. I don't ban people because it's always good content. If I had 1 million viewers, then I would start banning people. But when we only have like 50 viewers or whatever, you have to milk the content as hard as possible. And timing people out is still content, so... God, finishing pictures is fucking hard and sucks as hell. Especially when you're drawing characters that are meant to be colored in. So, like, their light and shadow balance and stuff are all based on, like, them being colored. And then you try and transfer that into the black and white and, like, gray medium of manga-style drawings, and suddenly shit becomes so fucking complicated. And you have to start figuring out where you want to use like shading and hatching and stuff like that. And what a pain in the ass. Alright, what time is it? 7 p.m. Okay, I have to go jog. See you around, guys. Good night. I won't be streaming much for a while, although I streamed today because yeah, we're trying to work on our storyboards for the manga. See you around, guys. Good night.